What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Nick and this is Fitness Reject. Today I have my cousin Jordan with me today. We have a lot of good stuff to talk about. We're actually out here at the beach at Sione Beach in sunny California, and we're excited to do this video for you guys. There's a lot of good stuff that we're going to talk about, so let's get it. All right guys, so once again, welcome back. I'm excited for this video today because my cousin Jordan is he's a football coach for high schoolers. He actually works over here in Torrey Pines, so he has a lot of good insight when it comes to losing weight, getting in shape, conditioning your body, and all that other good stuff, which is all super important when it comes to weight loss. So why don't you tell him a little bit about what you do and who you are and stuff like that?
Yeah, so first off, thank you for having me. This is super dope because I mean, just to be able to connect like this is a blessing in itself, and
sure,
especially in a time like this, you know, where everybody's just kind of trying to be social distancing themselves and stuff like that, and we respect it, but at the same time, we're gonna live our daily lives, and I think that's extremely important. But to kind of touch on what you know, we're talking about, so what I do is I'm a defensive line coach over at Torrey Pines High School. I've been coaching football now for about 8-9 years, I'd say.
That's a long time.
Yeah, so and I'll be 32 this year, so yeah, I've been coaching most of my 20s, and then into my 30s obviously, but I think that's where my background kind of took me. I know growing up, being around the game a lot with my uncles playing and things like that, was something that it just kind of grew on me. It was almost like it was supposed to happen. Like that's the way it should have been. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, and that's where I kind of learned a lot of this from, and obviously we'll get into that as we go. But yeah, that's where my background of kind of coaching, how long I've been doing this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously when you're coaching, because what grade do you coach? Like varsity?
I am the varsity defensive line coach.
Okay, yeah. So especially when you're coaching high schoolers, even in varsity, that's such an impressionable time for them to learn their foundation, for them to kind of have something to grow off of, because ultimately when you talk to athletes, a lot of them will attribute a lot of what they've learned to their high school coaches, or growing up, whether it's you do mixed martial arts, or whatever it is that you might be doing. High school, for the most part, is where a lot of people learn whether or not they're going to be athletic, or if they're not athletic, stuff like that. And that's really where you're going to start to see whether or not it's going to work for you. So what would you say that you work on the most with your kids as far as conditioning them, and obviously setting that foundation for them?
Right. So as when I was playing, it was back in the mid 2000s, right. So 2004 or 5, and we had coaches that were from that old school era, that taught us the structure and the art of power cleaning and squatting and stuff like that, but conditioning, it reigned supreme.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so like,
sure.
as you were touching on, it reigned supreme. Like, you were gonna run, the mentality was, we're gonna run you till you puke, but we still love you.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it was, and being at Vista High, that was the standard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that, like you said, like, you learn those things, and that's what I took, and it started from that, but I just want to kind of go back, if I can, to the humble beginning of how this all came about, and how my dad, I attribute all of that to my dad, because from the time I could remember, and from the time I could put 2 and 2 together, and and everything like that. I remember him just being in the garage lifting, having guys over lifting, them pitching in on protein, pounds of protein, and that's what I was that was the lifestyle that I was brought up in, that lifting lifestyle. So when I got to the age, of where I could just kind of move some weight around, he was hard on me about it, because it was like, okay, well, if you're gonna do this, first of all, you're gonna respect it. You know what I'm saying? And then by respecting it is by doing it the right way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to kind of go back and, give props where props are due, and so, but that led me through, to getting where I am. And to go back to what, your question of what I do with my guys is it's consistency for me. It's a repetition thing. We're going to do it, and we're going to probably do it 1,000 times before the end of practice.
Right.
And it's not to say that you guys aren't getting it, but I want it to be as perfect as possible. Now, perfection, that's kind of a long shot, you know what I'm saying? But if you can work and strive to get to that place, I mean, what more can you ask for from your guys, And so, fortunately for us, you know what I mean, we're blessed with a phenomenal strength coach in Josh Feely. I just want to give him his shout out, you know what I'm saying? But he does a tremendous job, and he has a very strong background in that.
Right.
And I'm coming into the program, I do bring my bit of knowledge and things that I've learned, and we're kind of working together on that deal. And our guys are going through their off-season program right now, and that started back in January, and obviously things are at a halt right now due to what's going on. But the beautiful thing about it is, the kids are so bought in that they're texting us like, Coach, what can we do at home? Coach, well, how can we do this? How I need to work my hands. What should I be doing? And it's a vice versa thing. That keeps us fired up, especially not knowing if we're gonna have a spring ball. I mean, we're probably not gonna have spring ball. Where are we going to be able to start our season ultimately? Exactly. But for them, the season started when the season ended.
Yeah, exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of the thing there, and having our head coach support us so much in that aspect, and the staff, you know what I mean? Where everybody's just kind of bought in. So as far as the conditioning is concerned, you know what I mean? The standard is set, and they understand that. They get that, and that's the makings of a great program.
Right.
So.
No, for sure. I mean, and honestly, in one of my last videos, I talked about, how to lose weight faster, and part of that was consistency. Consistency is super important. People tend to put that on the back burner, and honestly, that's one of the most important things, because when it comes to, like you were saying, with respect and understanding what the guidelines are and what your requirements are, you have to respect those things, and you got to be consistent with those. Otherwise, you're ultimately never really going to get to where you want to be.
Exactly.
So, I think that's really, really important. If you guys are looking at losing weight, or maybe even you're trying to get bigger, or whatever it might be, when you're in the gym, consistency is key. Because if you take, I'm just, this week I'm not going to go, with the coronavirus going around, a lot of people aren't going to the gym.
Right.
But the people that are consistent are at home doing P90X, so they're at home doing whatever.
Finding a way.
I remember your dad gave me, what was it, bro? He used to kick my ass, man.
Oh, T25.
Bro, the T25. Bro, I used to be at home just killing myself.
Yeah, man.
But that's the stuff that people are doing right now, that are consistent, that have that mindset. So, I mean, going into the next part too, is I wanted to ask you, obviously you can't really touch too much on what your guys' drills are and stuff like that, because obviously
we can do that. We can do that, yeah.
So what do you do as far as conditioning for stamina? Because I feel like a lot of people struggle with that. They might get on the treadmill while they're lifting, they're just out of breath, and a lot of people who lift, they don't really do a whole lot of cardio.
Right.
So how do you teach these kids, and how do you build that?
So that's awesome, and that kind of that goes back to my experiences through college, the way that I was trained, and you can kind of see it's a universal thing. If you have a great strength program in place, you're going to start to see the same things.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? If it's working for somebody, why can't I kind of jump into that pool too? But for us, it's we tell the guys like, hey, you can go to 24-hour fitness and look at yourself in the mirror and curl until your biceps are, on Arnold status. That is not going to help you on the football field.
Right.
Okay. There's being in shape, and then there's being in football shape.
Right.
If you come into camp just in shape, you're gonna struggle. You know what I'm saying? But if you come into camp in football shape, you can be all right.
Yeah.
Okay. And the way you differentiate those things, so it's kind of like, it's funny too, because like the way I train now too, and that's kind of go back. You know, you are gonna fall off. It's gonna happen. Consistency is so, like, discipline is one of the most. It truly is. And I don't care what anybody says. It's not easy to be disciplined. It's not easy. Right. And that's the mental workout that you start to train yourself, your mind to get into that zone, you know. And when you get in it, it's easy to fall out of it too.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? All it takes is 1 or 2 days, and it's happened. I'm a victim of it. I mean, everybody's done it, but consistency. Yeah. So to go back to how we work with our guys and how I've done it with my players of the past and stuff, and because I've worked with some phenomenal, I've been able to coach some amazing young men, you know, at the high school level, the youth level, and at the junior college level. Okay. So the thing with it is, it's going back to being in football shape. It's a HIIT style, the high intensity interval style training, right? So you'll be in the weight room, and we're not just gonna bench and then kick it, and you know what I mean, post ourselves, and like just bang 20 reps, you know what I mean, of 100 pounds. No, it's gonna be, we're going by percentages, and I won't get into that because I'm not a pro. I'm not a strength coach, but you know, I'm as organic as it gets with it. But I do understand it. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? I can tell a kid when his form is not, hey, you're gonna hurt yourself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And they know, like, I've been there, done that kind of thing in that regard. So when we get into that, it's like, okay, so how am I gonna get in football shape? Well, we're gonna go 4 or 5 sets, okay, 10 to 12 reps, okay, at a feasible weight. So I'm not looking for you to load the bar with all the weight in the world. Yeah, exactly. Okay? I'm looking for you to put something on the bar that you can probably hit 10 to 15 times and struggle. You should be struggling on the last few reps, right? So you're gonna rack it. Now you're gonna go bang out, like, you know, whether it be a split squat jump, or we're gonna superset it with something to keep that heart rate up, right? And that's how you're gonna start to get in football shape, because it's a stop and go type of deal, right? Yeah, exactly. For 7 seconds, it's as balls to the walls as you can possibly get. Not even 7 seconds, 6 to 7 seconds maybe tops, right? And then you have 25 to 30 seconds of rest period in between that, and that's how you have to train yourself, right? So now, but when you add in taking hits and taking shots to the body, that takes an effect on your muscles and stuff like that. So that's where the time in practice comes, right? You want to limit the contact, but you want just enough so that come game 1, you know, you come out and you're flying. You got flying colors on, right? You're that guy. I'm spatted. I'm, you know, this, that, the third that everybody's doing now, you know. But are you that guy game 10? Exactly. Are you that guy game 7? Exactly. Right? Did you put yourself in a position to become that guy at the end of the season when we most definitely need you to be that guy? So that's it's that high intensity interval style training, and there's days where we'll go in and we won't touch a weight. Yeah. We won't touch a single weight, and I mean that as dumbbells, you know, plates, squat rack. It'll be all explosion type stuff. Yeah, exactly. You know, and I'm sure we'll get into that, but yeah, that's how we kind of, you know, and the expectation is they get it. They know what they gotta be, and that's why you know, I'm saying, like, they contact us. Yeah. They're reaching out to us. My position group, we're in a group text, and we're talking every day, right? And I love it, and they're reaching out to me. You know, that's you can't ask for much more as a coach. You can't ask for much more than your guys to communicate with you and want to be better. Yeah. Especially with what's going on, they could be panicking and doing this, that, and the third, but they're trying to get better. You know, so I appreciate that, and that's an attribute to what we're doing strength-wise in the program. That's
right, for sure. And honestly, guys, what it comes down to is just being effective. You know, you can do a hell of a lot of things in the gym. There's, you know, a million different workouts, but ultimately you got to figure out what works for your body. And having somebody that is a little bit more in the know than you, someone that understands stuff a little bit better, is honestly a good friend to have, because like I said, when it comes to being effective, that's the difference. And like I said in another video, that's the difference between you losing a lot of weight or not losing any weight at all. And honestly, if you're trying to expedite the process, you know, that's always the main question, is how can I lose all this weight the fastest that I possibly can? And people forget that it just really comes down to being effective. You know, how are you eating? How are you working out? Are you sitting on your phone for 5 minutes in between your sets? Like, if you're doing that stuff, get the fuck out of the gym. Like, it's at that point, it's like, why are you there? You're wasting your time. So it's like, if you're gonna be in the gym, take it serious, you know, work on your body, and your fitness should be a serious thing. You should want to you know, strive to be the best that you can. So I do want to bring it into a separate portion of, you know, how do you feel like, because I know that there's been times when, you know, you were well over the weight that you're at now. You know, you were pretty yacked, and then you slimmed down. What do you think contributed to, I guess, having, number one, the mindset to want to slim down, but also two, what do you think kind of helped you to get to where you're at now?
Right. No, yeah, and I appreciate you asking me that, because like not a lot of people like care to, you know, hear your story as far as that, you know what I mean? But you know, now that we're getting into an age of, you know, people wanting to eat better and do better, you know, being a coach is what helped me a lot. Right. You know, because the lifestyle that you live as a coach, it can be, you know, you're putting in mad hours, you know what I mean? You sometimes you're not eating the right way. But for me, you know, so going into it, like when you were saying, like, there's been times, dude, where I got to like 280, you know, but I still, like, people were like, what, you don't look 280, you know what I mean? But I feel 280. Right. I might not look it, but I feel it, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the thing, and I think that's where you start to like realize, like, okay, like, if people are telling you one thing, but you're feeling, you know, another, then it's time to do something about it. And for me, it was more like my players. Like, how can I sit there and tell my players to go run their ass off and do this and do that, and I can't get out of a stance myself, you know? Which I've always been able to get out of my stance, okay? But you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, so I had to be an example, and so that's where I started to like make the transition. And I fluctuated. Like, I've been here, I've been there, I've been this, I've been that. You know what I'm saying? But I've always kind of kept that stature of like a solid frame. You know what I'm saying? Even when I don't think you have a choice though, to be honest. Right, like, no, and that's crazy, because like growing up, I was always skinny. Like, I was like the kid that was skinny and stuff like that. And then once like I graduated my senior year and I was 225, and then by game one of my junior college year, I was already at like 245. Damn. So that, and that was just starting, and then when I got to Tennessee, when I left Palomar and I got to Tennessee, I was at like 260, 265.
You played college ball.
I played a little FCS Division I school out there and stuff, and then but yeah, and so, but going back to it is like, I think it was, like I said, it was just like the company that I was keeping too, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've always had a tight circle, but then we all started to make this shift. Like, we enjoyed our years after this, that, and but when we started to really dive into it, like, we started to become more conscious, you know? And I'll be very honest, like, my cousin / brother, Jonah, like, he was one of a big inspiration too, because I helped kickstart. I would come home during my vacations and stuff while I was in college playing ball, and I'd come home and he had got the birth of his first son. You know, this was almost 10 years ago now, but the birth of his son is what shifted him. Right. And so like we started working out, and then I would come back and I'm like, dang, like this dude lost more weight. You know what I mean? And, you know, now he's down to like 190, 195, and he was like 340. You know what I'm saying? And
also, too, guys, we are gonna put real fast. I know there's always the question of making sure that we link everybody. So I'll put everybody's IGs and stuff like that in the comments below.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you'll be able to follow all of us. Like, don't even trip. But yeah, so to go back to that, like those, for me, it's inspiration, man. Like, I try to just grab it because it's put out there. It's in the universe, you know what I mean? And sometimes you have to be, you kind of want to guard, you know, that at times, because it's like when you put things out in the universe, it's like, you know, there's always those people that don't want you to do well. You know what I mean? And we've all gone through it. You know what I'm saying? But there's more people that are cheering for you than not. So that's like, and that's the thing is, like, now it's like the consistency thing, you know, like there's days where I'm like, I didn't make it to the gym, you know what I mean? But I'm at work and I'm busting push-ups in between this, that, you know what I mean? So I'm like trying to get something in, but I think it's more just like seeing people overcome that like keeps me going, and being an example for, you know, not just my players, my family, you know, and for my culture, ultimately, because you're starting to see a shift in the tides, you know, with the Polynesian culture. We're becoming more conscious of our health, you know what I mean? And by nature, we're not big, we're not like
little people.
We're not little people, but we're big, but our people were healthy, they were built, you know, our ancestors were not. So I think that's, you know, part of that too is just wanting to make sure that I can, you know, maybe sharpen somebody else's sword just by being an example, not even saying much, you know, just by doing. So.
No, for sure. Sorry about that, guys. I had to change the battery real fast, but to kind of, you know, go off of what Jordan was saying, you know, it is very, very true that You know, people all around you are always gonna have something to say about whatever you're doing. And always remember that your value your value is never determined by another person's opinion. So just because someone doesn't think what you're doing is the right way to do it or whatever, ultimately it's just about being healthier. And you know, that's really the goal, is to make sure that, you know, it's not just a trend that you're trying to follow right now. You know, that's something that you can start to introduce to your life, that you can stay consistent with, you know. And if you're able to do that, then honestly it's all going to start to come together, because you're not going to learn everything right away. It's too much stuff. There's stuff that you're going to learn for yourself that maybe stuff that worked for other people that just doesn't work for you, because no two people are the same. I'm sure you know that when you're training kids, you know, you have kids that, number one, are able to give it all, and you have other kids that need a lot of motivation to kind of get pushed there. So for me, I know growing up, I was the type of person that if I was in the gym and it was what I would want, what I was doing, and if I had a workout plan, whatever, and I knew what I was doing, I was cool, I was set, I could bust my ass, give 110%. But as soon as, you know, for say like when I was in the military and it turned into like workouts that I was being told to do, I was like, yeah, maybe not, you know, and I was just super hard to keep motivated. So that is something to think about, you know, when you're trying to continue on this journey of losing weight. So the next question that I wanted to ask you was, you know, obviously being Polynesian, we have a lot of different issues when it comes to staying lean, to getting in shape. Obviously we're able to add size pretty well. And if you look back to the culture, you know what I mean, a lot of the times, you know, we were, you know, living off the land, and I feel like during that time when, you know, Hawaiians were still warriors, and they were, not that they are anymore, but when it was still that time, you know, we evolved over time, and we became a lot less health conscious. And now, like you said, you know, we're coming to this point where, you know, nutrition is starting to become something that people are more and more involved in. So what are you eating now? How do you eat? Are you doing keto? Are you doing intermittent fasting? Kind of, you know, talk about
so,
that.
Yeah, for me right now, it's, you know, Monday through Friday, I'm pretty strict. I'm pretty, you know what I mean? I usually just do like a lunch for me, I fast. Number one, I fast. I do a 16-hour fast every day. And I'll get into something after this that I'll tell you guys about too that I did that was pretty gnarly. But I fast for 16 hours every day, so I don't eat until like noon. And then like Sundays, you know, I kind of like Sunday, you know, Sundays, I like to kind of go, you know, I kind of do my thing and kind of grub whatever the heck I want, you know what I'm saying? And then I'll do like a 24-hour fast. Yeah. So I won't eat again until dinner the following, you know, day, which would be Monday. And then so like a lunch for me, you know, is like 2 hard-boiled eggs, 2 pieces of chicken breast, and then like a huge like salad. You know, so I try to limit the carbs as much as possible, but I do throw them in there because I still, like I said, like I still lift. And when I lift, I do lift pretty heavy still. You know, as for me nowadays, what I consider heavy, but it's important for my muscles, you know, to be able to have those carbs to be able to feed each other. You know what I'm saying? But it's very like minimal. You know what I'm saying? It's very minimal. So, and I think that's what's helped me the biggest is like that consistency again. It goes back to consistency and repetition. Those are where you're gonna start to see the results. You know what I'm saying? And I'm huge on water. Like I drink like almost 2 gallons of water a day, and that's no joke. I'm not exaggerating. You know, and I every morning though, like I have black coffee. I drink a cup of black coffee every morning, and so those are kind of my things. And it's really like there's no like big secret to it. You know, there's no real big like, hey, you need to go out, and you need to do this, and you need to spend this, and you need to do that. Like that's cool and everything, but like for me, like I don't have pockets like that. You know, so I'll go to Fraser's and I'll get like a package of, you know, chicken breast, the tenders, and I'll cook them like that Sunday night, and I'll have them for the week. You know, for
those of you guys who don't know what Fraser's is, it's Fraser Farms. It's it's like a Whole Food store. Because remember we used to have like Henry's, and then it was Boney's. Like Boney's. Anyways, that's what Fraser's is.
Exactly.
That's our store out here.
I should have said like shout out Fraser Farms, you know, because they're but so like I'll get things like that, you know, and then like I love almonds, you know, so like but like sometimes I find myself like almost eating the whole bag of almonds, you know what I mean?
Bro, I used to do the same thing, and then I remember some dude was like, hey, you know nuts got a lot of calories, right? And I was like, oh, for real? I thought I was being healthy eating peanuts, bro. my sodium level was out the roof.
Yeah, for sure.
Looking bloated.
And it's easy to like fall into that, you know what I mean? And it's okay, like it's gonna happen sometimes, you know, and then that goes back to the whole discipline thing. It's like disciplining yourself, and then you'll have those days. But like I wanted to touch on like the fasting part, because so like a year ago, I did a 6-day water fast.
Woo!
Yeah. I just one of my homeboys inspired me to do that, and he was my college roommate. And I'll actually throw him in if we can tag him too, because he's super dope, man.
What's his name?
His name is Sione.
Okay.
Sione, Tongan dude, and I mean, he is like living life to the fullest. Like he's full on like snowboarding, mountain biking. He was one of our outside linebackers in college, and my man would eat like burgers. Like he's full vegan now, and he inspired me to do the water fast. And then like he did a 31-day for a month straight. He did 31 days of just watermelon, eating watermelon.
Dang. Well, you know what's crazy with watermelon, real fast before we So something I had learned is, there was this guy talking about how he had visited Africa and just wanted to go back to his roots and stuff that. And they had this watermelon or whatever, I guess, and they were giving slices of the watermelon away, and they were like it's like gold for them. And he was like, bro, why are y'all like so watermelon, you know? And that's what he discovered, and he was told that watermelon, was a crazy food because it could hydrate you and fill you up at the same time.
Exactly.
So a lot of people don't realize that for a long time, people who had to take long treks, or they were walking far distances or traveling far distances, they often took, stuff like watermelon and cantaloupes and all that other stuff, because it was a great food source. You got a lot of vitamins, but you also were able to hydrate during times when there wasn't a whole lot of water. Yeah. So sorry.
No, but to lighten that up too, something kind of funny is like I've got I know people that we all party, right? A lot of us still party, right? And as you get older, those hangovers start to be a little bit more effective and a little bit more current. You know what I'm saying? So,
sure.
I know people that would you can't hold food down sometimes, but they were cool with watermelon because you were hydrating, and it was a solid. Yeah. So you were able to keep that down. But yeah. So to go back to the 6-day water fast, that was one of the craziest things that I've ever done, and that's the honest to God truth, because going into that, I've already been accustomed to fasting.
Right.
Like I could go the whole day without eating. Yeah. But when you think about 6 days, you're like, wow, like that's pretty intense. Like I don't know if you doubt yourself. You definitely doubt yourself, For
sure.
And it's like, so it was water, and it was you would put milk thistle in your water, and then burdock root. And
what was the milk thistle for?
So the milk thistle would help clean your insides. Okay. Like it was like
a cleanse.
Like a cleanse is definitely a cleanse, but it's also like a mental cleanse too. Yeah. But the milk thistle, you would just drop a couple drops in there, and there was also, you could drink tea, and I forget the name of the tea. But you could yerba mate? Yeah, you could do like teas like that, you know what I'm saying? But you could those were the only things you could do. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So so like day 3 I was cool. Day 4 I was like, wow, it's getting real now. You know what I'm saying? Day 1 and 2 they were nothing, because like I said, I could do fasting no problem. I would do 24-hour fasts and stuff like that. But then it's crazy, because your senses start to get so much more intense, because now you're cleansing. You began to cleanse your palate. You've cleansed you're starting to cleanse mentally, so those things start to become more effective. So like things in the house, my sister and my girl and my mom, they're incredible cooks. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I would smell this, I'm like, oh my God, that was the hard part, But that's, we as human beings, and I'm not gonna get too deep into this because that's not my field of practice, but I kind of knowledge up on it a little bit. But we as human beings, we eat because for taste, for smell, for look. You know what I'm saying? That's why we eat. We're all victims of it. You know what I'm saying? But I know a few people that are breatharians that just juice, water, and breathing. That's what they survive off of, and they look really good. But that's a whole nother. We'll get into that on a different video, because that's super dope stuff.
That's some Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
shit,
no,
bro.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out Joe, man, super inspiring. But to go back to my fast, that was the thing. Was now you're getting to Thursday. You have 2 more days left, and this is the crazy part. Everybody out there is I wanted to push myself so hard mentally. Right. That I was even working out in my normal, you know what I mean? And when you work out, you're hungry. You want to replace that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, and I'm a morning workout person. I'm a breakfast club type of guy. You know what I'm saying? I wake up early. I get it in. You know, depending on the schedule, but most times that's how it is. So it intensified it even more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It intensified it even more. So like it was like I found myself like day 3 and 4, like, wow, like am I gonna be able to do this?
Right.
Long story short, man, I got through it. Like I got through it. Like, I even played golf on like my 5th day.
Yeah.
You know, because it was just things about taking your mind to another place, and that was the biggest struggle. Was, you know, like I prayed a lot, I meditated a lot, I reconnected like with myself a lot. You know what I'm saying? And like I highly recommend it. I don't recommend you going into a 6th day. I jumped into a 6th day, but I was accustomed to the fasting, so that was like, you know, kind of like it's. You'd be amazed, and people are gonna be like, no, there's no way I could ever do that.
Yeah.
No, it's not true.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd be so like stoked on what your mind can really do. You know what I'm saying? And I am planning on doing another one, so maybe we'll do like we'll do a group challenge with your viewers and stuff like that.
Sure.
Like, hey, let's get it in, and I'll put out the directions and everything. But I mean,
for sure. I mean,
cool. Like,
honestly, I think, you know, too, a lot of people always ask me why I always wear black t-shirts and a beanie, but because I do practice a little bit of like minimalism, and I love minimalistic stuff. You know, I think it's really, really cool. And part of that, you know, for me, introducing minimalism into my life, I didn't want to be like an extremist and like take everything out of my room and only have a bed. Like, I didn't want to do that. But even with what I'm eating, you know, I try to be as minimal as possible, because when you do a fast, or, you know, you limit what you're putting into your body, you really start to figure out what you need and what you don't. You start to figure out when you actually need to eat, especially through fasting, because I fast now as well. I do. I only eat for like 4 hours, and honestly, a lot of times I only get like a meal and a half in, but I make sure to like pretty heavy meals. I try not to eat volume too much on those days. I'll try to eat more calorie dense, but it is very true. You know, if you guys are, you know, looking for something new, you want to maybe cleanse your body, maybe have a restart, starting that is really, really easy. If you don't want to jump all the way into a 1 day or you can just start drinking water. Like that is such a big one too. You can do water, and you know, I used to put cayenne pepper and lemon in my water. I used to have a whole gallon, and I would drink that all day. And then after that was done, that's when I could start what I was gonna eat for that day. But it also helped just kind of get all that stuff out of you. You know, there's a lot of people that, you know, when they first start to work out, and they start to, you know, get into a diet, they want to be balls to the wall and do everything. They want to. I need pre-workout, and I need a pump, and I need, you know, this and that. I need to have a fat burner. They go to GNC, spend all their money from these people that honestly don't even really know what they talk about anyway. They just work there. They trying to make commission.
And just to touch on that, like that right there is where you kind of like hurt yourself, you know? Like, as I sit here and I'm telling you guys this, like, there's days that I've missed, there's consecutive days that I've missed, but I've never, like, I've always worked out my entire life that I can remember. Like I was saying, you know, I've always worked out, you know what I'm saying? And I always know how to get back to that place, you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, is like, and I've had jumped into a couple of those things, and you get like you blow your wad, like you're just done, you're maxed out so quick, like, and then you're like, you know what, I don't, and then you kind of revert back to your old ways. You know what I'm saying? It's a marathon. You know what I mean? It's a marathon. Like Nip said it best, man. Like the marathon continues, and it has to continue. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just life, yo. Like that's how you have to live your life. Like you can't. You're gonna take your L's. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta learn from your L's. Like don't thrive on your wins. You know what I'm saying? So like that's huge, because like guys, pace yourself, man. Pace yourself. You know, be the turtle, and be the turtle in this one.
Yeah, I mean, and it always puts me back to, I love the movie Wolf of Wall Street, but when he first, you guys have never seen the movie, go watch it. But you know, there's a part in there when he gets to this new place, and he's, you know, selling these stocks, and he told them over the phone, he was like, you know, I don't ask people to judge me by my wins. I ask people to judge me by my losses, because I have so few. And that's what you guys got to get in the mindset of doing. You know, understand that at the end of the day, you're nobody's property, so you're not to be judged by nobody. So don't worry about the things that people say. But at the same time, you also have to get into the mindset of understanding that, you know, what you're doing is a highly sought after thing. You know, there's a lot of people in the world that are overweight, that struggle with a lot of different stuff, and they would love to be at the weight that you're at, or have enough motivation to do what you're doing. And a lot of times people, when they're in that position, instead of being like a a supporter, they turn into a hater. And always remember that haters are sometimes way more important than, you know, the people that are supporting you, because those are the people that you can look at and be like, well, it don't matter because you're still fat and you're still not doing what you got to do. You're at home on YouTube watching your phone eating Cheez-Its. The new toasty Cheez-Its, have you had those?
No.
Oh, but they're so good. Anyways,
to tap into those. But no,
yeah.
to touch on what you just said right now, you know what I mean? Like, people are out there that don't want to see you succeed. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So the worst thing you could do is buy into that. Like, and I'm not talking about like going at them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Be there for them. I'm talking about being there for them. Show them like, hey, that's cool, man. I still got, like, I'm cool with you, though. Like, you know what I mean? Don't turn them into your enemy. Just, you know, if they don't want that for you, that's fine. Don't turn that energy back on them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because then like, eventually down the road, that's gonna bounce back on you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna find yourself in that situation, possibly, hopefully not. But my whole point there was like, just don't fight fire with fire. You know what I mean? Put the fire out.
No, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
As best you can.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be there. Like, I can tell you a million stories, but like, I know a lot of people probably never, and then people to this day probably wonder how I even had an opportunity to play Division I football. Yeah. You know, but it was consistency, it was hard work, and I was dedicated to trying to just be the best version of myself on and off the football field that I possibly could. You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure. I mean, and honestly, you know, to kind of bring some conclusion to the video, is I just wanted to ask you, you know, what would you advise other people to do as far as maybe introducing workouts, you know, and even nutrition? How would you suggest someone go about introducing that to their life? Is there resources that you like to use? Are there places that you have to like count your calories or you know, stuff like that?
Like I said, like I'm super raw with it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna sit there and like I don't sit there and count my calories and stuff like that. You just gotta kind of know, like, figure yourself out. What is it you trying to accomplish? Like, are you just gonna dive into this and you want to be swole? Or are you gonna try to trim down? Right. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, the best advice would be start with the baby steps. You know, this is a real crawl before you walk type situation, because, like you said, you're gonna peak. You don't want to peak early. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's gonna happen in your workouts. But you know, if you're not a person who's like, you know, you don't come from an athletic background or something like that, that don't mean that you can't reach full maximum capacity as far as your ability to be in great shape and stuff. And I want to say this too, because this is where a lot of people are falling off, is that they're so concerned with, like, they base themselves being healthy off by the way they look exterior wise, right? You know what I mean? Everybody's a work in progress, you know what I'm saying? Base yourself on how you feel inside, like, you know what I mean? Like, get your ducks in a row internally first. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the struggle with all of us. Like, I struggle with that too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I find myself, like, you know, not a lot, but I'm human. You know, like, I don't know, like, my hair cool, you know what I mean? Like, doing stuff like that and shit, but don't get caught up in that, because that's when you're gonna start to, you're inviting that type of negativity into your life, and so it's gonna start to weigh on you in one way or another, and you won't even realize it. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I just advise you just to be, you know what I mean? Like, just go 12 rounds, man. Right. Don't throw in the towel at 4 or 5 or 6 like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, know yourself and understand yourself first of all. There's a starting point. You know what I mean? Yeah. And everything, like, most importantly, like, physically, you know, you want to be right, but most importantly, it like, get yourself mentally right first. Right. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not a person who reads a lot, like myself, you know, but I'm starting to, you know what I mean? Get into that. Find something new. Like, I just started doing jiu-jitsu for the first time, and, like, according to the trainer, like, he's like, man, have you done this before? I'm like, no, but, like, I went in there open-minded, like, I was gonna get my ass handed to me. Yeah. You know, but just tap in with things, man. Be a sponge. You know what I'm saying? Just be a sponge, because this life, as we know, very well know, is not promised. You know, but you can go about your daily self and promise yourself that you're gonna take a step in the right direction to become a better person at the end of the day. At the end of that day, because you gotta win every moment. Yeah. It's not just by winning the day. There's a lot of moments within that day. Right. You know what I mean? And so, just being the best version of yourself and being good to people, like, for real, like, be good to people, man. Yeah. That shit is real. Like, you know, like, do for others. Yeah. Do for others first. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people, like, who say, like, nah, I'm about about myself, you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, well, you're always gonna be yourself.
Exactly.
You're always gonna be by yourself. You know what I'm saying? So just like before the physical shit is gonna happen, all that other shit's gotta be right first.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
No,
just
for sure.
you gotta be a person who just like shows mad love and everything like that. And you don't gotta be vocal about it. That's the thing. Like you don't gotta be social media about it. You know what I mean? Like we were walking down right earlier, and people were just like, "Hey, good morning." Like you know, say good morning back. Yeah. That goes a long way.
Exactly.
I mean, the couple that was just helped us set up the camera. You know what I mean? Like they're saying goodbye, so I say goodbye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just to kind of close it out, man. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, of course.
Because to be honest, like I don't consider myself somebody that has the answers or whatever, but I consider myself somebody that's willing to take my story and whatever I can give, you know what I mean? And I'm excited to be doing this. We're gonna be doing this a lot more, and you know, my cousin's gonna help me tap into some videos on my own and stuff like that. And it's an iron sharpens iron environment around here, you know, and that's what you have to be, because you never know what you could learn from somebody, you know. So just spread love, man, and I appreciate you having me on the show, dog. You know, so
why don't you let them know where they can find you on social media if you want to give that out?
Yeah. So just type in my first and last name, honestly, on every social. I'm on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah, so it's gonna be Jordan, Jordan, and last name is Peiler. It'll be Peiler. So I believe you're on what? Everything, right?
Yeah, everything, and most of my social media outlets are tagged. Like there's if you see Coach J Peiler or Coach Jordan, that's me. Okay. And the 88, So
we'll tag everything below. That way you guys can reach out and do all that stuff.
I am starting to like post my workouts. And I work out with my girlfriend and my cousin, and if you guys, anybody wants to hit me up and wants to train, like we'll get it in. And believe me, I'm just trying, like I said, it's an iron sharpens iron type environment. So like I'm not gonna be like, well, hold on, let me get you logged in. Like, no, okay, meet me over here. Let's get this work, you know. So
exactly. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I want to do eventually is gonna be, you know, once I have a pretty consistent platform, I want to, you know, remember when Junior used to do the workouts at the beach? Yeah. You know, eventually I want to start to do that type of stuff too. There's a buddy of mine, I think do you know Steele? Yeah, Anthony Steele. He has a gym out here as well.
And like to tag team off that, like shout out to like, you know, the Pow Pow family, you know, Wally Pow Pow, Tofi Pow Pow, you know, and I even shout out, you know, the 760 family and stuff, and all those guys that are really trying to do right for the community. And if you guys have children, stuff and like that, and are interested in like those things, those workouts and what you can do, and you know, the Pow Pows, man, they've been doing this for a long time. They did it with Junior, you know, rest in peace. They did it with him forever, and they kind of kept that going, and their workouts are free. And you know, if you can't get there, like I said, like use your sources, man. You know what I mean, and start your kids early. Yeah, make this a lifestyle for them. You know what I mean? There's no shame in that, but be versatile.
Yeah, for sure. Know? Yeah. So to close out the video, guys, if you guys did enjoy today's video, please, you know, give it a like. And if you guys want to see more content from me and obviously from my cousin, and you know, everything that we're doing, any questions, anything like that, then please hit subscribe as well. There is a notification bell that you guys can hit, and that's gonna let you guys know anytime that we release a new video. So make sure you guys get on that. And once again, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns about anything that we've spoken about in this video, most of it will be tagged below, but you guys can also comment in the comments below as well, and let me know if there's any topics that you guys would like to hear me talk about in another video, or if there was some stuff that I discussed that you would rather me elaborate a little bit more, and maybe I'll make a specific video for that. So until next time, guys, bye-bye. You